Start by saying that I wholeheartedly agree with the e-Safety Commission's goal of removing child exploitation material online. This is absolutely what we want to see as a nation, and I believe that harsher punishments are needed for those that produce or access this material. However, the scope of the e-Safety Commissioner, Julie Inman-Grant, has been expanded well and truly beyond the safety of children online. She has turned the agency into a worldwide censorship machine that is being used to target political enemies. Free speech is a fundamental value of the Australian culture. It should be in the Constitution. But the Uni Party does not want the Australian people to have the protection of the Constitution. After all, it was the coalition that appointed Julie Inman-Grant to patrol the Australian public under the guise of protecting them. The Uni Party is not for the people. It is not for the rights of Australians to say what they think. For them to see the events of the world and judge for themselves. It is a blight on our country that we allow bureaucrats to decide what Australians are mature enough to see. And this hasn't gone unnoticed around the world. The US Congress has demanded that the e-Safety Commissioner, a US citizen, present herself before Congress to give evidence in their review of worldwide censorship regimes. In his request, Jim Jordan, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, refers to the e-Safety Commissioner as a noted zealot for global takedowns and cites her travel to the US in September 2025 to be a keynote speaker at Stanford University event. I would like to read a passage from the letter from the Congress around how they viewed the event. The stated purpose of this event was to bring together policymakers, academics and experienced Silicon Valley experts to discuss the state of compliance and enforcement of existing regulations related to online trust and safety. Put plainly, the roundtable sought to facilitate cooperation with global censorship by bringing together foreign officials who have directly targeted American speech and represent a serious threat to the First Amendment." End quote. This clearly shows the antagonistic effect that the e-Safety Commissioner has had on one of our most important allies, an ally that has much more regard for the freedom of its people than the Government of Australia. So what has the e-Safety Commissioner been ordering taken down that has prompted such strong language from the US? The stabbing of Bishop Marmarie, an Islamist attack on a Christian bishop, an example of the government's complete failure to address the Islamic extremism that they decided should be censored, not only in Australia, but around the world. The slaying of Irina Zautska and the assassination of Charlie Kirk were geo-blocked in Australia. Once again, both videos that were the far left of politics found inconvenient to their cause. I asked about the blocking of these videos during estimates. I was told that they were blocked due to the National Classification Scheme, stating that the content was unrelatable and therefore it was not suitable for anybody to view. There is important work to be done by the Office of e-Safety. However, the scope needs to be limited and monitored closely. We have seen an appetite for this office to reach beyond their duty to protect children into the realm of ideological censor. Adults do not need a government guardian to tell them what is and is not safe for them to view. If they knowingly view anything that is child exploitation material, they should be subject to the full force of the law. And it is up to parents, not the government, to decide what is suitable for their children. No one loves kids more than their parents, certainly not the government. I have no issue with education, but taking away parents' rights to choose what is right for their children is gross overreach. Provide parents with the tools and leave the parenting to them. Last of all, I would like to point out the ridiculous costs of e-Safety's failed litigations. Extending the ban on the stabbing of Marmarie, they were made to pay out over $600,000, not including their own legal costs. Australian taxpayer money spent to have themselves censored. Billboard Chris's criticism of transgender ideology used on children. e-Safety ordered it taken down, a criticism that most Australians would agree with. Complete ideological censorship. That cost the Australian public $66,000 in legal costs. Or the recent case of Celine Borgenton, who raised issue with a queer club being advertised in a child's school, estimated cost of $250,000. What a waste of taxpayer money that should be used to prosecute the e-Safety Commissioner's real objective of removing child exploitation material. The recommendations of this report do not address the need to severely limit the scope of this office to what it needs to be focusing on and away from government censorship. One Nation would completely reform the e-Safety Office to this purpose. We would scrap it and start again if necessary. Australians do not need censorship. We do not need the government to parent our children. If you don't like what's online, switch off. Stop the censorship now.
Senator Roberts.